Today we filed a new lawsuit against the NCAA involving the way it treats student athletes. To recap, we have the following cases trying to make life better for student athletes. One, we have the concussion case in which we're seeking to change the way the NCAA treats concussions in all sports. The second case we have is called the Alston case, in which we challenge, under the antitrust laws, rules that the NCAA and its conferences have with respect to how much they can pay student athletes. And basically, the actual amount that student athletes are allowed to be paid is $5,000 to $7,000 a year, less than what it really costs kids to go to school. And that adds up over time, and we're seeking to change that practice. The third case we have is called the Rock case, and that challenges limitations that the NCAA had with respect to how many years scholarships can be offered to student athletes and the number of scholarships that can be offered. We say there would be no limitations but for these collusive rules that the NCAA has agreed upon. Today's case challenges rules that restrict the right of student athletes to transfer freely without penalty. Basically, in the world now, according to the NCAA rules, if a student athlete doesn't get a waiver, that student athlete has to wait out a year. We say in a competitive world where the schools weren't getting together and making rules, that they would allow student athletes to transfer freely without penalty. Look what they do with coaches. Coaches can transfer. They make millions of dollars a year. They don't have to wait. They don't have to get waivers. The NCAA and its schools aren't claiming that somehow that affects the competitive balance between conferences. But if a student athlete who gets a scholarship says, I want to transfer and I don't want to wait, the NCAA and its members say no. That's unfair to the athlete. It has consequences to the athlete. If they wait out a year, they're doing so without scholarship. Oftentimes, if the recruiting coach learns that the student athlete will have to wait a year, the coach doesn't want to wait for that athlete, the coach wants to win, and the coach says, no scholarship. That's what happened to Mr. Pugh, our client. He tried to transfer, they said no. When the other coaches learned that he would have to sit out a year, they said no deal, and he wound up out of pocket, playing for a much less competitive school than he was qualified to play for. So we're hoping to eliminate the transfer rules to help student athletes be treated just the way coaches are.